Oh, goodness. Alright, folks. I was just talking to Jim Dunn. He might call back. I'm calling Stone now. I shot him a text and he said he just woke up, was walking to a restaurant. Feel free to call, so I'm calling.
Howdy, howdy.
What's going on with you, young blood?
Oh, living the dream. What's going on with you?
Hell, I done dreamed it.
Me too, I woke up.
Right?
It wasn't what I thought it was.
I hear you.
Boy.
Now, you're being recorded before you say anything too off the wall now.
Thank you for letting me know that.
Well, I was trying to do a conference call video with you and Jim Dunn. He might call back. So, he was having phone issues. I'm going to try calling him here again, matter of fact. So if I go away, do not hang up.
No, I won't do it.
It's ringing for Jim now. He has more trouble answering his phone.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice.
Nope. Alright, you're back.
Alright.
We did not get Jim in on this. He has more trouble answering his phone. You've been out there driving now without a trainer for what, 2 months maybe?
I've been out here for 2 months without a trainer, yes sir.
Well, good deal. So what's your thoughts overall for driving? Not your company and the nonsense. We'll get into that in a minute. Are you regretting getting into trucking? Is it what you thought? Talk to us.
Well, I did a lot of research before I started driving.
Yes, you did.
Over 12 months researching it. Talking to drivers, stuff like that. I love it.
Now the question is, after a year's worth of research, and folks, he was watching a lot of my videos and others, was it what you expected?
No.
Well, and seeing that's what I've tried to tell people before. It don't matter. I mean, you can research your company and all that. That's not going to turn out to be what you think. You can know.
Until you get out here, you won't know.
Exactly. Until you get out here and actually try it, you can't know if it's for you or not.
Yeah, until you get out here and you're actually in it, you don't know. There's a lot of things that I learned that I expected to happen that did happen.
Right.
Such as breakdowns and stuff. I mean, my truck has rolled anywhere whenever I had a co-driver. Now I run teams, so that throws a whole new set of variables.
Yes, it does.
Trucking.
Yes, it does. That's a whole different animal.
That's a whole different animal. I would never, ever, ever recommend a rookie driver to come into a team situation right off the bat. I wouldn't do it.
Well, me either. That's one of the dumbest things they've ever done in trucking. Now, have you had the chance to truck by yourself at all?
I haven't.
Okay.
It is with the particular company I'm with. It is company policy that I have to have 3 months of verifiable driving experience before they'll even think about letting me, do solo dispatch.
And that's only going to be if your co-driver's off the truck for some reason. They're not going to allow you to go solo permanent.
You got it. Man, it's like you've been out here for a while.
About 3 weeks now. I've been watching your videos. So, what is the biggest disappointment that you have found coming out here?
I think the biggest disappointment that I've had, and I think my situation, it's going to vary from company to company. My biggest disappointment has been maintenance, and it's not the company's fault. I cannot blame the company for it, because when I call maintenance, they get out there, they fix it, whatever it is. It's my co-workers, my co-drivers, not my team co-driver. Well,
right.
I've had those issues too.
Right, but no, I know exactly what. And I want to interrupt to let everybody know that I caught you flat-footed with this call, so you ain't had a time to really think about any of these answers and don't have a clue what I'm going to be asking you.
And I just woke up 15 minutes ago.
Well, good.
Oh, yeah,
You had plenty of sleep.
Do what?
I said, good. You had plenty of sleep.
I did have plenty of sleep. Today was the first day that I got 8 hours of rest, continuous rest.
Well, now that's something else. How are you finding it to sleep driving down the road?
See, because I'm in a team situation, and I'm not able to find. They exist, but I haven't been able to find a co-driver that's, how can we say, accommodating.
Right.
I feel like I'm the only one that thinks about the person in the back. So it's hard to get sleep. I had a few rough experiences with my first few co-drivers. One of them drove 400 miles off route. The other one liked to go down mountains in 10th gear, which is way too fast. And so, when they hit the brakes, and air brakes are very, very sensitive. So when you hit the brakes, it's gonna, start slowing you down.
Well, they can be if you don't know how to apply them right. Yes, they can be very grabby.
Exactly. And like me, I hit them gently, and I downshift. I'm in a 10-speed manual, so I downshift, and use my Jake brake, and then I'll hit my service brake gently.
Right.
And so I don't throw my co-driver into the floor off the bunk. But I've been the guy that's been rolling forward, into the net. So it's been hard to get sleep. I've never been a paranoid person, but after the first few co-drivers I've had, my current co-driver asked me just yesterday, or 2 days ago. I got up, he stopped, he was getting fuel, and the second we got off the highway and we started coming to a slow, I got right up and jumped up in the jump seat. And, I blamed it on, I like to know where we're at and I like to know what's going on. Well, I think it's more because I don't trust them. And so I want to know what's going on,
That's a very smart move there. Now, people we need to let them understand that you talked to your grandfather before, who's an old trucker, and he's talked to me before, and we both told him the same thing, and that is when you're team driving, you drive like you're on snow, you're on bad roads. You hit the bridges easy. If you see bad road coming up, you back out of it a little bit. You try to make it as smooth on your co-driver as you can, simply because you want them to get decent rest, because you're going to have to sleep behind him here in a couple hours.
Yeah,
So,
their rest is your safety.
Exactly.
Their rest is your safety,
and they don't understand that, unfortunately. That's something they don't teach in these schools, and they should be teaching it where you're at, because it's mandatory that you team drive.
It's mandatory teams, and trust me, they understand it. After the first night that I wake up 5 times, they understand it real well.
Right. Well, then you return it to them too.
I mean, I'm nice about it, but I give them the exact same hints that you just listed off. When you go to close the door, just push it to where it clicks, and then push it again, and it'll lock.
Right.
You don't have to slam the door.
Right.
So it's been interesting. Last night, yesterday afternoon, I had a bit of an issue with my partner's work while I was asleep. And at 11:30 Central Time, I was coming on duty to start my shift. I've been driving night. A lot of these people don't like to drive night. They want all daytime, and so sometimes you gotta be willing to do what you gotta do. And anyway, I started my pre-trip, and I am a stickler on pre-trip. I don't want CSA points, and I don't want citations, and I don't want to kill somebody out here.
Right.
So I started to do my pre-trip, and I got the cab done. Everything was fine there. I went and checked my fifth wheel connection. Everything seemed to be good there. Started running down my airlines and all that on the trailer. I got back to the tandem, and I found 4 tires that were illegal. Now, if I was running like a mom and pop company or something like that, they might maintain their equipment better just because they have a smaller fleet and it's easier to look at them all. But it's really up to the drivers to report it. The corporate office ain't gonna know.
Right.
And
y'all do a lot of drop and hook. People need to understand that. Your trailers don't necessarily make it back to any of your yards for the company to actually inspect them. And see, this is a nationwide or an industry-wide problem that some of us have been complaining about for years, is that when you do the drop and hook, the person before you just drops it so they ain't got to worry about it, don't tell nobody, and they go on down the road. Then you come pick it up and you got all these issues. That's why a lot of drivers, your old drivers, will not drive for a company that does drop and hooks. The only reason I'm driving for this company with their dropping and hooking, which we only drop and hook at our yard. And every trailer, when it comes in, it goes on an inspection line, and it must be inspected before it gets the next load.
Wow, that's awesome.
Well, that being said, stuff still slides through the cracks, but nothing like what you have to deal with.
Man, it's every trailer. I think in the 2 months outside of being with my trainer, I think that I have hooked up twice to a trailer, pre-tripped it, and I actually was able to leave after my pre-trip.
Right.
And and that's part of the reason. And I was, well, I guess I could say ignorant because I hadn't been out here. But I was also a little bit stupid because I did have warnings from you and from Grandpa and from, the other family members I have that you might want to watch that drop and hook rate. Well, I chose to dropping hook rate because, hey, you're rolling, right? You're rolling more.
What do you think?
I learned that that's not exactly true.
Right.
But anyway, I've had a problem with maintenance. You know, I've had issues, like last night, you know, and my issue was that when we were at the shipper, he did a pre-trip, he found a flat tire. So he called roadside out, and they replaced one tire. Well, the other four that I'm telling you about, they weren't like, it wasn't something that just happened in the last 500 miles.
Right.
Okay? The tread was worn down. It was bald. It was something that has happened over time, and it was something that he missed on his pre-trip.
Right.
And I have always been a person with higher expectations. If you shoot for the stars and you miss, at least you're on top of the world type of mentality.
Yeah.
And so, this kid, he's been out here for 6 months. He's the most experienced co-driver that I've had. But his experience has been that the type of person that drops the trailer, doesn't do a poster, and rolls out.
Yeah.
Or, you know, does the very bare minimum to get by and rolls out. I forget the exact verse, but there's a verse that I read the week before I went to school, and it's about chasing the almighty dollar. And if you chase the almighty dollar, it'll slip away from you and go off into the sky.
Yeah.
And I kind of understood that, but now I'm starting to understand it even more.
Right.
So anyway, needless to say, I am at our headquarters, our terminal here in Iowa, and I sat at the truck stop where we were at last night for 4.5 hours till roadside showed up and put tires on. And after I was sitting there for about 30 minutes, my co-driver, he got back up out of the sticker berth. He said, "What are you doing? Why aren't you driving?" I said, "Well, I don't feel like getting 96 CSA points tonight." Well, he said, "Do what?" And so I took him back to the trailer and I showed him. And he said, "Well, I did hit a lot of potholes." I said, "That's not caused by potholes. Sorry, I worked in the mechanic shop for a few years. Potholes don't cause that." And anyway, he got kind of upset that I was getting the trailer fixed before I left. And so I told him, I said, "Well, you can get upset all you want, but this is my career and this is my life. And, you know, I haven't always followed the rules, but now I'm following the rules. And the rules say those tires are bad." So anyway, needless to say, I am now going to be getting my fourth co-driver. And my sister warned me last night. We were on the phone. She warned me about switching co-drivers too often. Because then you start getting a reputation that, you know, you're a hard ass and nobody wants to ride with you. You know, I just don't care about it. If they're not willing to do their job right, I don't want to ride the truck with them.
Yeah, the only, I've got to agree with her to a degree. Because you and I have had that conversation ourselves.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can see is the company trying to, once you have your 3 months, putting you out on your own, which ain't necessarily all bad, except I'm afraid they're going to cut your wages big time. So that's something you'll have to argue with them about.
Yeah.
So I don't know what your pay is, and I don't care. But let's say right now you're half of your pay, because you should be getting paid for half of all miles traveled.
Yep.
So let's say you're making 22 cents a mile. they're liable to try to send you out at 22 cents a mile. So you're going to have to stand up and argue with them over that, because you don't have someone to split them miles with, so you should get full pay. But they're going to try to convince you otherwise. The truck's only traveling half the distance. And all this other nonsense. Now, I have had a couple of people comment to me on the side about your pre-trips and post-trips, and how hardcore you are on doing your inspections properly. Well,
would you like to know why?
Well, that's what I was fixing to ask, is if we can go, you've done divulged it to me, and if you don't mind, I'll divulge it to them, plus with what I told you.
So, you know, I've been out here for a while, not long enough to say that, you know, I know everything that I'm doing. But I've been in enough truck stops whenever I start my shift, and I know that about 95% of drivers don't even get out of the cab to do their pre-trip.
Right.
Well, here's why I do. I have, from high school that I went to, I know 10 truck drivers. And these guys started intrastate when they were 18. When they turned 21, they went interstate. 2 of them are in prison now for involuntary vehicular manslaughter. It wasn't their fault. They were going down the highway. A car pulled out in front of them, way too close. Like, we're talking within a 16th of a mile. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 blocks away. And at 70 miles an hour, when you're loaded at 70,000 plus, sorry, not going to happen. You're not going to be able to stop. Anyway, my friends, and these are dear friends of mine. One of them I played basketball with, the other one I played football with. And, you know, the DOT guy comes out, does the inspection on the truck, because, you know, they can see from the tire marks, okay, clearly the car pulled out in front of them. Everybody with the Class C license would assume, oh, well, it's not the truck driver's fault. Wrong. If you have a Class A CDL, you should have been able to avoid the accident. So, the DOT inspector goes over and inspects the truck. And when they go through and do an inspection, they do one kind of like I do before I drive it. They check everything. And I mean, we're talking with a ruler and protractor, and I mean, they scientifically inspect that truck.
Yep.
One of my friends, he had 2 slack adjusters out of adjustment. Not by much, but it was enough that whenever he went to court, they said, well, your brakes were out of adjustment. They put the general title, your brakes were out of adjustment, when it was only 2 out of 10.
Right.
It wouldn't have been, he wouldn't have been able to stop even if they were brand new pads and fully adjusted. But he got the fall for it because his brakes were out of adjustment.
Yep.
I have another friend, same situation. Car pulled out in front of him on a divided U.S. highway. This one had 2 occupants, had a mother and a child. Same thing. Got pulled over, you know, got stopped once the accident happened. You know, did all the right things, called the emergency services, all this stuff. DOT comes out, inspects the truck. He had a brake lining that was one brake lining that was dangerously thin, and he had I think it was either 1 or 2 slack adjusters out of adjustment.
Yep.
They are both in prison now for anywhere from 10 to 25 years. That was their sentence. I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe one of them got out early at 7 years, but he had to go on parole. And the other one's still in. So you know, these truck drivers that are experienced may say, "Oh, he's a rookie. He's just paranoid." Call me whatever you want. I don't want to go to prison.
Well, and on top of that, in today's world, you see all these signs saying, "Been in a big truck wreck?" So we have lawyers that specialize in it.
Yeah. So even if I didn't go to prison, I'd be working for free for the rest of my life, paying somebody's, you know, car payment, house payment, and their hospital bill.
Right.
And I'd have a hard, I mean, and something is probably going to happen. Something is probably going to happen. When you drive as many miles as the driver drives, stuff happens out here. But at least if you know that your vehicle was legal when you were driving it, you shouldn't have as much recourse come back on you. You're still going to have some, but it shouldn't be as bad.
Well, it's a case of not if you're going to have something happen. It's a case of when you have something happen. And you know, the motorcycle gangs have got their 1%ers. Well, we've got our 1%ers too, because it might be 1% that can drive a career out here and not have an accident.
Yeah.
My dad was one of the few. Now, that ain't saying that they didn't have incidents where they bumped a trailer or something, I don't know. But they ain't been in any real accidents. I can't say that. I've had my share. All of mine has been the other person's fault, but it still comes down to it was an accident.
Right.
So.
And so, you know, I won't discuss on video how I'm able to save time and do my pre-trips, but I will just say that I save my clock, but I still do a thorough pre-trip.
Right.
I won't discuss how I do that, but I do that. Because my clock is my mind. My 70-hour clock, because I'm over the road, and my 14-hour clock, you know, and that's a rainy driver. So, you know, it is what it is on that. But I love being out here. What can you tell anybody wanting to come into this? What would you tell them to check out the most? What would you, let's put it another way, what would you do differently doing your research to come into trucking? You know, it's really hard to find a company, and it's not hard to find a company, it's hard to find an insurance that covers the vehicles for a company that will accept you with 0 months experience. You just got your CDL. You know, it's not the company that will say, no, we can't hire you. It's their insurance company.
Yeah, insurance rules the industry.
And so, you know, I was going to say, before I thought of that answer, I was going to say I would have gone to work for a small company. But it's hard to find a small company that can even take you.
Yes.
Because of insurance.
And that's where it comes in. I'm always telling you guys 2 years. You need to stick it out for 2 years. Are you learning that 2 years really is a real number?
It really is a real number for the good jobs, the good paying jobs, the good jobs that you won't have all of the problems that I've had out here. You're still going to have problems. They're just going to be different.
Now, without stroking me, because you can't hurt my feelings at all, so don't be concerned with my feelings. Have you found any bad advice that I have given on my videos pertaining to trucking or the trucking life?
Not one bad piece. In fact, there was a lot of the videos I watched that I was like, no, that can't be. No way. And, but I still listened, you know, and then I got out here and I was like, oh, Yes, he was right.
Now
I literally, I've gotten a lot of bad advice and falsehoods from other people. But no, your channel literally was the most honest, upfront, no sugar added. Here it is.
well, that's where I was going to go next. I know you watched other videos. How accurate were the other videos?
You know, there's a couple of them that are pretty accurate, but they don't cover the stuff that I needed to know.
Yeah.
But you know, but they also, in that same channel, there was a solid 40% of them, of the videos, that were just propaganda.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a guy wants to burn out his tires here. Yeah.
All right.
A lot of rubber in the air now.
What
I think I'm going.
what is there that I should cover that I have not covered?
Oh man.
I've covered a lot. I've got a lot of videos up on trucking.
You have covered a lot. You know, off the top of my head, man, that's a tough question.
All right, well, think about it over the next few days and let me know. You've got my phone number, or comment, or live stream, whatever.
Yeah, I'll post some comments. I'll post some comments on there, because it's one of those things that you don't know that you need to know until you're in the situation, and then you're like, oh man,
Right.
what do I do?
Well, that's like Jim Dunn called me today. It was his first time picking up paper rolls, and he wasn't sure how they was loaded, if they loaded them right, and he didn't have a dream they was as big as they were. So, you know, there's still going to be stuff out there that I haven't covered. I can't cover it all.
Right. You're going to have to excuse me just one moment. I'm going to stay on the phone, but I've got to get a table here. It's the first chance I got to eat. Sit down.
Well, I'm fixing to let you go. He just woke up and he's trying to get a bite to eat. Man, we appreciate your time, brother.
Absolutely. I appreciate everything that you've done and you've helped me with.
Well, and I appreciate this little video here. Maybe it'll help somebody out. God bless you, man.
Absolutely.
Love you. Bye.
Love you too. Take care.
All right, folks. There you go. That was Brian Stone. As you heard, he's been out here about 2 months without a trainer. So he's getting a fresh start on it. He's getting a good start on it. Yeah, he does stuff a little bit different than others, but I've talked to him before about his pre-trips and his post-trips, and I've told him that if anybody goes giving him a bunch of flack over it, to let it just roll off of his back, because right now he is creating the habits that is going to carry out with him throughout his career. And there's nothing wrong with doing a good pre-trip. There's nothing wrong with holding a company accountable and making them provide you with good equipment. Unfortunately, I was not trained like that, and a lot of us old school was not trained like that. So to hear him doing it makes me happy. I'm glad he is doing it. We was always taught, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. So, now, no, we didn't roll out with flat tires and stuff, but we did overlook some of the other stuff. So, with him doing what he's doing, and like I told him, he has goals of being an owner-operator a few years down the road. And I told him these habits that he's creating now will help him when he's an owner-operator. It can save him a lot of money from repairs and whatnot, and it's really a good thing. It really is. So any of you truckers, wannabe truckers that's thinking about coming out here, you need to try to mimic what he's doing. Make sure someone teaches you how to do a good pre-trip. don't count on just the pre-trip. You have to learn to take your test. Make sure you understand your pre-trip and your post-trip, and you really do need to conduct them on your daily drive. Like he said, he has 2 people that he knows that has ended up in jail because of faulty equipment. That stuff happens more often than we like to think about. When the accident happens, like with them boys, it was not a matter of, oh, the company told me to go. It's a matter of you're responsible for that vehicle that you're driving. It's all up to you. If it ain't up to par, then you're not supposed to drive it, period. You're supposed to make them fix it like he's been doing. So if anything ever does happen, I have told him to keep records, which I have talked to him some more. Or Stone, if you're watching this, you need to be keeping a record of these pre-trips and what you've had to make them do, so that if anything does happen and you do end up in court, and they go hollering, oh, well, you had this out, you can say, look, I do my pre-trips. Here's where I've had people fix stuff. You know, I've forced the company to fix this stuff. That might have slid by, and if it's, and then maybe your lawyer can say, well, it was a 0.5 millimeter out, and they're trying to make it sound like they was bad out of adjustment. It might be something to keep your CDLs and or keep you out of jail. So keep records of all these inspections you're doing and what you're having to force them to do. CYA is all it is. But I wanted to do this little phone video and see what he had to say, see what he learned, see what he might be able to pass on to y'all. Y'all remember, good Lord loves you, so do I. That's why I make these videos. I'm trying to help the industry, and I'm trying to help each and every one of y'all. Y'all have a blessed evening now. Good night.